So getting some folks coming in. Who can name what track this is? Yes, it's from Halo 2. I'm curious who can actually name that track. All right, so for those who are joining right now, I'm just trying to wait for the room to come in a little bit more, a few more people to come in. Go ahead and actually, if you guys can do me a huge favor and actually put a comment in the comment section so that way I can see that the feed is working. So I just want to make sure that I can see all the chats. So if you have any questions that you want to put in about the channel, about upcoming content, about just any topic whatsoever, gun stuff, any stuff like that, I will answer everybody's questions throughout this live video. So we're going to be doing this live video probably once a week now, I think, is what we're going to be doing. So, yeah. All right, perfect. I got everybody. Already got a question coming off right off the bat. Where is the 300 blackout video? That actually should be, let me see here, should be up. And as far as the 300 blackout video, that will be releasing on May 18th. So right now it's available for members. So if you're a Barrel and Hatchet member, you have access to all that content. We just uploaded the Battle of the Pistons video again. That's released on June 7th is the official release date for that, but you can watch it now as a member. So, all right, so what I'm gonna be talking today about is tactical flashlight considerations and some things that I have learned along the way when it comes to flashlights. Awesome. Got a fellow nerd in the group chat, so cool. Yes, that is exactly the song. All right, so perfect. We're gonna be talking about cloud defensive lights. I've actually got one right here. I'll talk a little bit about those and some things I like about them. I do have a Surefire Scout Mini light with the remote switch. I also have a Reptilla body, but this is a Modlite. So this kind of covers all of the top three lights, if you will, outside of Streamlight. And one of the things, I'll tell you right now, right off the bat, lights are probably, to me, one of the most frustrating things when it comes to gun stuff. It's really hard to find a good light that has the accessories ready to go right out the box. And then there have also been some things when it comes to reliability that I've been experiencing that has been kind of disappointing. So I will say, we'll get into that. So let's talk real quick about some of the accessories that I recommend. And actually, I just got sent in. I put this on one of my rifles, and that is the Overbore system swivel. Now, if you guys don't know, we've talked about Overbore in the past on other videos. We've never dedicated a full video to him, but what I like about Overbore systems, and honestly we're this way when it comes to companies or even gun ranges that we're going to start working with, we like working with actual shooters. Like if you have, you go to the skate park, or anybody, if you skateboard as a kid, when I used to skateboard back in the day, a long time ago, it was always like, you never wanted to be that guy that was just a poser that held his skateboard and stood around and you wore all the skater clothes, but you never did it. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't know how to ride, you didn't know how to do any tricks, and it was just like one of those things where it's like guys would encourage them, like, hey, come on, get into it, and they just didn't for whatever reason. There's a lot of that in the gun industry. There's a lot of companies that are run, you'd be surprised by how many companies are run by folks that are not shooters at all. Like they don't ever shoot a gun, like ever. It's mostly like engineers. They just really enjoy like the design portion of it. So what was cool about Overbore, long story short, is Overbore is, one, he designed this. It's called the swivel. He designed also some other light, optic mounts. But that dude is a shooter to the core, man. Like he actually came and proctored our night vision class when we were up in Pennsylvania, and he is super passionate about shooting. He is super passionate about understanding the needs that a shooter has, and that's what's really the most important part, is when you're a shooter, you understand what are some of the needs that you have, and you're like, I wish there was a product that was existing in the market for this specifically. And that's what the swivel does. So before, a lot of our options that we had was you have a Reptilla. This is a fixed body, so you can't adjust it. a rotilla body, and most of the time what end up happening is you would have where the light body mount would not work or interface well because of the rail with like a laser, like a PEC 15 or a Holosun or a Steiner D-ball. And so you'd always have that issue where the light is just like bumping up against the laser, or it sticks out like super far and it looks like a tumor on the side of your gun. And so there's nothing that was ever like streamlined to kind of keep everything nice and tight. And essentially what it required is it required adjustability in the actual light mount itself. Now, I'm gonna open this. So if you order a swivel, they're hard to get because they're always out of stock. If you guys haven't heard of them, check them out. I actually think he may be giving us a discount code specifically for you guys to use. We don't make any money off of it. It's just to help save you guys some money. So I will get with him and try to get that code out to you guys. But I can't show guns on here because last time we did it, it got us kicked off with a live. So this is not a gun part. This is a flashlight part for a flashlight. This is called the swivel, and it is a flashlight part. And what this does is, if you guys can see, this actually mounts to your handguard, and this swivels, and you can actually lock it into place. I mean, the amount of adjustability is nice. So what you can do is you can actually take that flashlight and you can butt it up right up against that laser module, so you don't have it sticking out. It's not, or if it's, you know, too close to the laser, you can actually back it off a little bit, and you can really streamline that setup very, very well. And so this was a legit thing, and what's cool about this is there's no light body required. It automatically interfaces with whatever light body that you're running. So if you got a Streamlight, it'll work on a Streamlight. It'll work on a Surefire. It'll work on a Cloud Light. So it's a very universal mounting system that allows you the adjustability to take that light mount, and you can actually take, like if here's your laser, instead of having it off to the side, it allows it to sync up so it's nice and tight up against that laser. So versus like this, right? So and I'll talk to you guys about some of the frustrations I've had outside of that. This is something I recommend if you really want to get a very aesthetically pleasing look to your light laser combo. This is very, very nice and super legit. So super scientific word, super legit. All right, so let's talk about this is the Modlite and some of the struggles I've been having with this. I've been running Modlites for probably 2 years now, and you know, we're blessed to have the ability to put high round count on a lot of things that we test. For those of you guys who don't know, whenever we do a video on a gun or a product, specifically rifles, or a something that's a part of the rifle or the pistol or whatever, our minimum time is either a month to be able to review it and get time on it, or 1,000 rounds. That's our minimum that we tell companies. So this Modlite specifically has had quite a bit of exposure to recoil and all that other stuff. But I'm officially taking this off the gun. This used to be on my Griffin Armament Mark II, and it's been on a Daniel Defense Mark 18 Rise 3. It's been on a tons of different guns. And what has been frustrating about the Modlite specifically is that it has turned on when I don't want it to turn on, and it has turned off when I don't want it to turn off. So I'll give you guys a quick story. I was running a night vision class at Element Training Center, and I'm talking about you know, lowering your signature, making sure you're very aware of negligent light discharges, so light NDs, laser and infrared NDs to lower that signature. And we're doing one part of the class, if you've been to our classes before, the Alpha course, there's actually a portion of the class we were trying to hide from Op4, and they're trying to find you, right? So if they find you, they start shooting blanks at you. So the biggest thing is you learn how to hide with night vision. Long story short, someone's light's on, and I'm like, whose light is on? And it turned out it was me. My Modlite had turned on by itself, and so I didn't have a. I usually used to run remote switches, And then I went to a direct button push. And it turned out that every time I would shoot, that this light would turn on and flicker on and off and stuff like that. So, you know, I've had that with multiple mod lights. This is one of I think like 2 or 3 that I've run through now. But it's definitely something that was for concern. You know, something I was not okay with. So I switched back to a Surefire on that light. Now I can tell you the 2 lights, I've never had an issue with that. Despite how old or how many rounds there were on them, was the Surefire series, or Surefire lights in general, and Streamlight. I've literally never had an issue with a Streamlight, and they're considered to be the poor light. I think they're fantastic. I think it's a great product, and also it saves money. It's not as expensive as some of these other lights that are out there on the market. And dude, they are like bomb-proof, man. So I'm probably going to honestly start going back to Surefire and Streamlight. So one of the things also that, now I have this on a Reptila body. I've got the Surefire direct button push, and the Modlite head. And some of you guys might say, well, because you got different manufacturers, stuff like that. The last Modlite that I took off was completely Modlite to and through. So took that off, and I'm just kind of done with that. So with the Reptila body, one other thing that was frustrating is it is a fixed body, so I can't adjust it once it's on the rail. So I wasn't able to run a 100 Concepts light cap on the front of my flashlight. Even if it was NDing, I wasn't able to run it because it was too close to the barrel and the suppressor. So it was kind of a sacrifice I made, but now I have a swivel mount from Overbore, and I'm able to run a light cap again on my Surefire, which is nice. Which, a quick food for thought when it comes to your light caps. I've seen this multiple times when it comes to the 100 Concept light caps, and those guys are really, really legit. So for guys who are curious, the dudes over at 100 Concepts are also shooters, man. Like, they are super cool. Jonah's a really good guy, strong Christian dude, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they're cousins actually. And so they're really, really solid folks over there, and I love what they do in their mission set, and they're genuine people. So we have a great relationship with 100 Concepts. With the light caps, though, I will say, whenever you have it near a muzzle device, whether it's a flash hider or a muzzle brake, they will shatter off of your light. So for guys who are running a light bar and you have that super far forwards to get rid of that suppressor shadow whenever you're illuminating your light, and then you take your suppressor off and your light is sticking forward of your muzzle device, if you're running a 100 Concepts light cap, it will blow off. And I mean, when blow off, like, it will shatter and come off. It won't be replaceable. Or it can be replaceable, but you can't fix it. Repairable. So that's something that we've seen in class, something that I would definitely think about. And so when I'm running a light cap, like I have on my rifle behind me, I have it behind my muzzle device, so that way it's not at risk of being shattered. Now, something that the 100 Concept guys are actually doing right now is they're coming out with a newer version that's a ruggedized version that is not a plasticky material, but it's almost like a flexible rubber, like a hard rubber, so you won't run into that issue, and it can sustain some of that blast from the muzzle device. Now let's talk about remote switches. So on the Surefire Scout, I've got a remote switch, and when it comes to remote switches, one of the things that I find out, whether it's a Unity switch, which I've run through quite a few of those, or any type of remote switch whatsoever, is they will short circuit over time. And also, one of the things that a lot of whether it's Surefire, Streamlight, a lot of those manufacturers, even the aftermarket ones, you lose some voltage from what I've been told. You lose some of that brightness. So it's not going to be as bright of a light as versus you doing a direct button push on the light body itself. So one of the things I had is they would short circuit. The wire would also fray and start to wear out over time. So usually probably like once a year I'd have to replace the remote switch. And then also there would be a short circuit here where I would have to actually spin this and turn it to be able to get a good connection, which is not okay, because when I turn the light on, I want the light to be on. Like, I don't want to have to fiddle with something else. I want to not think about it. I just want to turn the light on when I need it on. Because most of the time, if you have to run that light, you need it right now. So whether that's through hunting, whether it's through that's your profession, whether it's through being a prepared citizen and your training or whatever, you want it on now or you want it off now. So there should not have to be any fiddling going on in between those things. Now, one of the things that the 100 Concept guys claim is that there's no loss of voltage when it comes to your remote switch. The problem is I absolutely hate this thing. This switch is massive. I like the fact, though, that there is a very deliberate push, like you have to deliberately push the button. One is a constant on click. The other is a momentary. So if you guys have not run 100 or cloud defensive lights, that is something that you have as an option. And also every light will have a direct button push on the back. Cool in theory. Love the fact that they have those options. The problem is they sell it in this configuration. So if you want to have just the direct button push, you have to buy that separately. And you're already spending over $200 for this light. What is nice, though, about the cloud defensive light is they do give you a rechargeable battery and a recharger, which is that's really, really neat. The one side about the cloud lights is they're honkin' massive. Like, this is a massive light. So if you put a swivel mount on this, it's going to help lower that profile of this larger light body a little bit more by syncing it up against that rail or against that laser module. I'm running now I have run cloud defensive light bars in the past. They have, like, this one's actually a, what is it? I can't remember the name of this light bar. But with this light bar, it is a lot more solid than the 100 or the cloud defensive light bars. I have broken 3 of them by myself. There have been other light bars that were run by, Wiseman Company, our good friend over there, and Roy's run some, and they keep snapping. And there's just too many holes that they put. There's too many points where you can get more adjustment out of it. But the problem is that the more holes you drill in this thing, the less strength the metal will have, and it's more prone to snapping. So after snapping 3 of those, I'm done with those light bars. Went to, this is a Bobro, that's what it is. Bobro light bar. It's okay, but now I got to figure out how to take this off so I can put a swivel on this cloud. Now, one thing I did do that Roy actually showed me, and I thought it was kind of funny, is I absolutely can't stand this remote switch, so that's why I don't put it on a gun. And he just went up and cut it and cut the cable. Now, I'm not recommending that, but he cut the cable and put a super glue over the top of the exposed wires, and so it was a direct button push only, and it works. Worst case scenario, you can just buy another one of these from their website, but that was our poor man's way of doing it because I hate lights and they're frustrating. You need them, but they're frustrating to deal with. So those are some things that we've kind of learned along the way. As far as the 100 Concepts and the Modlite, they are going to be a medium light cap from 100 Concepts. So if you're going to get cloud defensive and Modlite, it will be a medium light cap for their light heads. For a Surefire Scout Mini or a Surefire Scout, it will be a small light cap from 100 Concepts that you would need to fit that. So that's just some of my stuff on lights, guys. I've been trying to deal with light stuff for a long time. It's just so frustrating. But let's go ahead and answer some of those questions that we have here. I'll read them out loud. And then after I read some of these questions, I actually have some stuff that I wanted to read to you guys that I was reading in my devotion this morning about David's Mighty Men, and it was really, really interesting. All right, so let's go ahead. Where's the 300 blackout video? We already answered that. Ever use any cloud defensive light rifle or handheld? We've already talked to that. I saw a Streamlight ProTac HLX take a round of 40 Smith & Wesson keep working. Police body cam. That's impressive. It's a testament to Streamlight. What about Olight? Moving on. I've never seen good experience with Olight, guys. I've had students that have brought them out, and they usually have failed in class. Had 2 fail to do to spring design, never again. What about the Touch Soul light for your AR-15? I've never heard of that light, so I couldn't give you any insight on that. Been running an HLX for years, no issues, getting banged around. Custom spacing around A2 sight. Work for you, minefield recoil, -20. All right. what happened to Modlites, that happened to my Modlite too. Mine would stay on, has also gone through 3 Unity hot buttons. Yep. Beware the Surefire UE07 tail cap. Yes, that is some good advice. Clouds, torrent line of mountain lights look like the plague. They'll break just from finger strength. Yes, they're not very good. Streamlight has rechargeables, easy to swap out. I hear Surefire batteries are better. I will say that Arasaka, that's it. Thank you, Cam. It is an Arasaka. This is an Arasaka light bar. When it comes to rechargeables, there is actually something I was listening to about battle and conflict and whether to have a rechargeable light versus a standard CR123s that you can put in there, throwaway batteries. And there's a really interesting point that was brought up by a volunteer that was fighting in the Foreign Legion in Ukraine. And what he was saying is that they were running rechargeable lights for all of their weapon-mounted lights, and they would actually get those little solar panel external batteries that were like 30, 40 bucks, and they would recharge all their batteries via these little solar panels that they bought on Amazon. Because in Europe, CR123s are almost impossible to find. So that is really interesting. It's a very renewable source of energy that you can use, just getting a little solar panel charger, and that way you never have to rely on throwaway CR123s. Obviously, there's a lot more plentiful here in America, but if you're looking at a sustainment purpose, when everything falls apart and there's no more CR123s, you can't go to the store and just buy more. You have to kind of scavenge for them. It's a good idea to maybe have some rechargeables, and I've never heard of that, but that sounds like a very smart idea. So something that I thought was really interesting. God bless you too, brother. I need to rewind. Okay. What's a blicky? I don't know. Suppressor applications on modern Minuteman tactics. Also, Cloud Defensive does make a 1860-50 body that accepts Surefire tail caps. That is really interesting. That's really cool. How important is Candela in your opinion? So Candela is good because I want to get that good spread. I think a lot of people, we have to think about application as far as like how much do we really need to see far away from us in the dark. Realistic application when it comes to a combative role. If I have to utilize a light, one of the things that is, I want to have enough Candela and lumens to be able to penetrate into specific areas. So I'll give you guys an example. If I'm in an urban environment and I have my night vision up because everything's on with lights and I see dark windows and I have dark rooms, I want the light to be able to penetrate through into that dark room. So I want to have more of a very focused beam versus a very wide flood. Now, understand, sometimes we get really wrapped up in the Candela and the lumens that it can also be overpowering. So if you're in a very small room, you're in a very tight space, you can actually overpower that target and it's hard to actually see them because it's so bright. One of the things I will say, I'm at the point now where I just want a light that works reliably. I just want a light that when I turn it on, it comes on, and when I turn it off, it comes off. So, at this point, the biggest thing that I'm looking for in a light is reliability and ruggedness. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, we can get to, it's almost kind of like that same argument you have with like glass. Is the glass clear? Yeah, it's clear, but like, now it's starting to matter about the reticle, the durability. Those are the types of things that we're looking for in scopes. So when it comes to flashlights, I'm looking for, is the Candela and the lumens reasonable for today's day and age? That's what you should have as a standard. And most importantly, is it rugged and is it durable? Obviously, I don't want a light that's about as bright as a candle, but there's a pretty good, there's a pretty decent standard for what, like if you're a light company, you should be putting out this type of lumens and this type of Candela. So, Modlite's best dang flashlight ever used. Yeah, I'm glad you had great luck with them. I want beam instead of flood for my ranch, opposite of urban areas. Yeah, so that's another thing. Is also like depending on what light you're buying, as far as your Candela and your lumens, it depends on where you're at. Your environment's going to dictate quite a bit. Here in Florida, there's a lot more people moving down here, so it's a lot more urban. Even in the more rural areas, it's becoming more urban. You got them trailers out there. So but I'm at the point in my shooting journey where I want a flippin', I just want a light that works and is not going to fail me. All right, my wife and I have been atheists our whole lives, but I've been slowly growing interest in Catholicism. How can I convince her to take the leap with me? So I think the biggest thing is just for me, that's a tough one. But as a father and as a husband and a leader in my house, I just lead the family in prayer or in Bible study, or just open up the conversation and do it where it's not super pushy, but you're just doing it out of love, right? So like, if talk to her about her struggles, things that she's struggling in with life, and just hardships she's having and stresses, and then look for passages that talk about the things that she's going through, and then also praying, and also looking to the Holy Spirit to be able to speak on your behalf. So you allow the Holy Spirit to speak for you. So it's not your words that are being spoken to your wife. It is the Holy Spirit speaking through you, and doing that out of love. So that's super important. So let me go ahead and grab a Bible real quick. And one of the things that I was reading about is David's mighty men. Now, if you guys don't know about David's mighty men, it will make you be like, holy smokes, those guys are cool. If there was a movie about it, people would probably think that they're cheesy. So in 1 Chronicles, which is in the Old Testament, if you look in 1 Chronicles, chapter 11, verse 10 is where it starts. It says, "These were the chiefs of David's mighty warriors. They, together with all Israel, gave his kingship strong support to extend it over the whole land, as the Lord had promised." This is the list of David's mighty warriors. Now, this is crazy, and if I'm going to butcher these names, sorry. But Jeshobeam, a Hakmonite, was chief of the officers. He raised his spear against 300 men, whom he killed in one encounter. So think that. Put that in perspective. This is a hand-to-hand combat that they're doing back then. And this dude kills in just one battle. So this doesn't only talk about one battle specifically. He's probably done this multiple times in many, many battles. But in one battle, he killed 300 dudes by himself. Holy crap. Dude, first off, think about this. You are such a warrior to the core that you get an honorary mention in the Bible. Like, that's wild. So next to him was Eleazar, son of Dodai the Ahohite, one of the 3 mighty warriors. He was with David at Pas Damim when the Philistines gathered there for battle, at a place where there was a field full of barley. The troops fled from the Philistines, but they took their stand in the middle of the field. They defended it and struck the Philistines down, and the Lord brought about a great victory. So this dude stuck with David while he's fighting all these Philistines. The entire army leaves him behind, and they're like, screw this, I'm not doing it. And David and this other guy literally beat the Philistine army by themselves. Like, David was such a flippin' warrior, dude. It's insane. And then 3 of the 30 chiefs came down to David at the rock cave of Adullam, while a band of Philistines were encamped in the valley of Rephaim. Now, understand, these are different instances. These are different stories that happen. They're just kind of smashing all into ones. At that time, David was in the stronghold, and the Philistine garrison was at Bethlehem. David longed for water and said, "Oh, that someone would get me a drink of water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem." David longed for water. Oh, so the 3 mighty men broke through the Philistine lines, drew water from the well near the gate of Bethlehem, and carried it back to David. But he refused to drink it. Instead, he poured it out to the Lord. "God forbid that I should do this," he said. "Should I drink the blood of these men who went to risk their lives?" Because they risked their lives to bring it back, David would not drink it. Which is crazy, dude. That's insane that... Here's the third one. Here's the third of David's mighty men. Abishai, the brother of Joab, was chief of the 3. He raised his spear against 300 men, whom he killed, so he became as famous as the 3. He was doubly honored above the 3 and became their commander, even though he was not included among them. Benoniah, son of Jehoiada, a valiant fighter from Kabzeel, performed great exploits. He struck down Moab's 2 mightiest warriors, which they actually believe were giants, He also went down into a pit on a snowy day and killed a lion, and he struck down an Egyptian who was 5 cubits tall, which is almost 8 foot tall, so a giant Egyptian. Although the Egyptian had a spear like a weaver's rod in his hand, Benaniah went against him with a club, so essentially a stick, and snatched the spear from the Egyptian's hand and killed him with his own spear. Dude, it's crazy. One of the things that I'm talking about when it comes to David's mighty men, and there's actually other warriors, or 30 other warriors that are not included amongst the 3 that are mentioned here, and they also talk about in chapter 12 the warriors that joined David whenever he's fleeing from King Saul, but these warriors stuck with David throughout his entire kingship. And I feel like as today's society, you know, the world is constantly telling us to not be masculine, to put on ladies' clothes, and to do all of these things that are just against the core of what men are supposed to be. And so, you know, in the Bible, there are crazy stories about dudes who are just like super strong and powerful men who stood for what was right, who were dangerous, you know. God doesn't say be a wimp. He literally calls us to be warriors and to be dangerous, but also to be good and to be capable. So it was just really interesting. I was reading about that in my Bible study this morning. We're probably going to talk about it on the podcast tomorrow night. But yeah, so I'll answer a few more of these questions, you guys, but I appreciate you guys coming onto this live video. We'll probably do this once a week and do some lives and just talk about whatever topics you guys want. So comment other topics you guys want us to talk about. Getting someone because you got to be born. Free Larry Vickers. Is he in prison? And then also, I think, I want to say Mike Glover, I think, got arrested recently for, I don't know what it was for, but I just saw something on Instagram that he got arrested. Touch Soul is rechargeable, waterproof, and has no cords and is bright. Please look. Okay, I will look it up. The Bible Promise Book gives you verses based on subject matter. It got me through my times in the military and beyond. Amen. Yeah, dude. It is the book of truth, and it has saved me. And it continues to save me every day. So, okay, cool. Well, I am, I'll stick around for a couple more questions. Something that, talking about real quick about some of the next videos that are going to be coming out. I'm currently editing the video for the Roscoe Barrel and Hatchet collaboration canine barrel. That barrel actually will be releasing on May 30th or 31st. So make sure you guys go to Roscoe's website, sign up for the newsletter. There's not going to be a ton in there. So I would, whenever you get them, just you're probably going to sell out. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, somebody's message came through and I got distracted. There's going to be they're probably going to sell out fast. Now, they are going to order more. Actually, I think they already have them on order, but what is actually the holdup right now is the gas tubes, because they're proprietary. They're an intermediate gas system, and so there are a longer wait time. It's not the barrels that's the hang-up point. It's going to be the gas tubes. So that video, though, about the barrel and all that type of stuff will be coming out on May 18th. Correction, May 28th. On May 18th is going to be a 300 blackout video. So just going to give you guys a little bit of update about what we got going on. And then something else that we are going to be doing is we are actually meeting with a Air Force survival instructor. He's a retired SEER instructor. For those who are in the military, if you know about SEER instructors, you realize how very rare they are to find. There's not very many SEER instructors out there. So we are actually going to be meeting with a SEER instructor. We'll be meeting with a SEER instructor this Thursday and talking with him about obviously doing a survival series on the channel, like a legit survival instruction and topics and things like that he'll be featured in, but also introducing survival classes. So not only is he going to be teaching survival classes, but also like evasion classes and escape techniques and stuff like that. And then also a women's defense course where he teaches women and stuff like that about, one, situational awareness, but two, how to break out of restraints and how to do these types of things to be able to be more vigilant out in the world. And then the other thing that we have coming up is going to be or overland series. So we're going to be doing a dirt bike series, an ATV series, and a side-by-side series where we talk about that in a Minuteman preparedness standpoint, talking about loading it out, wearing it with a chest rig, where to sling your rifle, different types of gear that you can run while running those, how to get into that, because it's kind of, in my opinion, a little bit intimidating to try and get into that. I rode street bikes for a while, but never rode dirt bikes. I've rode ATVs and side-by-sides in the military, but how you can use a dirt bike to your advantage to be able to get in and out of small spaces and get from point A to point B. So just an extra asset you can use for your travel. So we'll be coming together this week to discuss those video topics, to kind of plan out those videos and that content. So just kind of putting it in your guys' ear. So I want to say thanks again for checking out this live video. Guys, if you get something out of our videos, best way to help the channel for free is to share a video with a friend or family member if you got something out of it. So I want to say God bless. We'll be praying for all of you. If you have prayer requests, please comment them, and we'll see you on the next one.